Welcome to the Mama Needs a Moment podcast. We're your hosts, Chrissy
and Cindy,
co-founders of Her Health Collective.
We are two moms obsessed with revolutionizing the way moms take care of themselves. We are so glad you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome to Mama Needs a Moment. If this is your first time with us, you are in the right spot. We are speaking with Dr. Rachel Good, who holds many hats. She is an assistant professor at the UNC School of Social Work and an adjunct assistant professor in the Center for Eating Disorder Excellence Department of Psychiatry at UNC, which stands for University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And she's also a licensed clinical social worker. She has her PhD, her MPH, Master's in Public Health, and her MSW, which is Master's in Social Work. Dr. Rachel's research interests include developing, implementing, and evaluating equitable and community-engaged interventions to treat obesity and eating disorders. We are continuing our discussion with Dr. Rachel by going into more depth about her personal experiences with eating disorders, the importance of finding food freedom, and what she envisions making better for others. We also talk about changes that need to be made in the medical community to approach and treat these patients. There is a trigger warning for this episode. We will be mentioning the topics of weight and eating disorders, so please be mindful of your needs. Enjoy. I love how you talk about looking at people and researching how to bring people off of the brink of eating disorder. So they might be showing signs and it hasn't fully grasped hold of them completely, but it's there. And so much that we've said is the difficulty of the public and medical system to recognize when something is disordered, because everything around us is teaching us that that behavior is acceptable, essentially, until it gets to be really severe. The main eating disorders that you think of are anorexia and bulimia, and not all eating disorders represent in that way. You're not going to see somebody and tell from the outside that they're struggling. I've shared my experience before, but I didn't even realize I was struggling with eating. I had gotten fully absorbed into the health culture, and I had started just taking various food groups out, demonizing different food groups, had a really poor relationship with different foods, to the point where when I had our two girls, I was eating completely separate meals. I mean, at the brink of what I considered disordered, but was never labeled an eating disorder. I'm looking at it as orthorexia, which is obsessing about the health side of everything. I was not eating hardly anything. I had cut out so many different food groups because I thought it was all in the name of health. I thought it was because this food was making me feel this way. And people have said, oh, gluten, it's going to make you have leaky gut syndrome. And, you know, all of this stuff was tied into what I had been learning in the health and wellness industry. And I just empathize so much with the people who silently suffer, because I didn't even know that how much of my energy and my freedom was going into the choices that I was making. And it's still a battle. I mean, I'm in with therapists and, you know, it's still a battle. I'm curious, did you have a situation that made you focus in this area, a loved one? Or if you feel like you can share that, we would love to know what pulls you into this.
Yeah, Cindy, I appreciate you, leading us so well with your sharing. I think your heart. I feel like we should share our stories more, with each other. So we know, hey, my sister has done it, right? Well, we know how to come out. Seriously.
And it's a struggle.
I too. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard. And I think the first thing is recognizing you're not the only one. And so I remember, so I'm very tall. 6 feet tall. And so I was always awkward. I always stood out, when I was in school, and it was probably late high school. I was diagnosed with PCOS. And I gained 70 pounds in 1 year in high school, and no one knew what to do about it. And so of course we were very much at the time of individual responsibility, your fault, and so that led me down my own beginning journey of dieting and led me to eating disorders, and led me to kind of just feeling stuck. I remember feeling afraid to eat, and that feeling of just looking at the food and being like, I don't know what to do with this, like just being so afraid. And then I remember feeling just hopeless, like it really bothered me that I was in a body that I'm like, this is not me, like this is not me. And I wanted desperately to kind of get out, and I just didn't know how to. And so I think that led me personally, my religious faith is very important to me. And so it led me to just honestly be like, God, what do I do? What do I do? Like, this is just, there has to be a way out of this. And so I started learning more about intuitive eating. I started learning more about, just for me, eating when I was hungry and stopping when I was full. And it sounded so simple. And I remember when I sensed that I needed to start in that way, I thought, this sounds like, I don't know, like I'm actually trying to do something, and this doesn't seem like it's going to do anything. But I said, okay, I don't have any other choices, so let me just try this. And I had an accountability partner, and together we kind of charted out this territory and began to just take step by step. What I really was doing was healing my relationship with food and learning how to eat. Again, we focus so much on focus on a lot of exercise, but the how of eating is not highlighted enough. And thinking about my emotions, oh my goodness, emotions were such a big part of my eating journey. Huge.
There's fear. There's fear. Oh my gosh, if this crosses my lips, is it going to make me get this disease or whatever is being highlighted at the moment with any type of particular food?
Yeah. For me, I was coping with food. So whenever I felt anything that was negative, I was like, where's the cookies? Where I just, because in my head, in my heart, I was like, that is my safe place. That is what's going to take care of me. And in my brain, it was a very like direct link, And so it took me, again, I think relying on my faith and learning how to eat again to kind of unwind, I think, from all of those behaviors. And then I think I spent a good bit of time then focusing on, what am I going to eat? What choices should I make that honor my body? I had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant with my second child. Almost had it my first, but definitely with my second. And that experience was kind of life-changing because it showed me, wow, this is hard. When people are managing diabetes, trying to navigate in this environment, it's overwhelming. But I'm so grateful I had that experience because it's important. There's so many of us who are going to have type 2 diabetes, who are pre-diabetic, who are managing type 1 diabetes. And these things are really, they're here, and people need strategies that don't, again, I think we can shift into dieting, and people, I think, can experience wholeness. And so learning how to, I follow a plated approach now where I'm just, trying to make like half my plate vegetables and trying to honestly just make sure the food groups are represented.
Right. Lots of color, yeah.
Like we need all the food groups. But it's hard though to do that, but just breaking it down and thinking about, what can I add instead of take away? I'm so grateful for my personal journey because it helped me learn to ask questions that I think if I hadn't had the journey, I wouldn't be asking, because I'm like, no, that's not the question. You are asking the wrong question. Like the knowledge is not the question. That's not it. I don't need more knowledge. I know, I should eat a vegetable, but I don't want one. Or
I want chocolate.
Like, I'd rather have that. That's not the issue. It wasn't, I think, until I dealt with it. And then that balance, right, of knowing how easily we can slip into disorder eating.
So easy.
And it's more important, I think, to have a healthy relationship with food at any weight, right? That is more important And so I've seen the benefit of focusing on that frame of being healthy in my mind, whole in my mind, free in my mind, and how that has really helped me. And then when I combine it with what I'm seeing in my research participants, it just gives me life, because I'm like, it is working, right? It's just, I think it's so important. I feel we're wounded healers. We are all wounded healers walking around this,
Yes.
and just I'm trying to help you the best I can. And so I'm excited to be able to do that in a scientific way. Yeah.
Sure. This episode of Mama Needs a Moment is sponsored by Camp Gladiator. Camp Gladiator is a health and fitness platform for all ages and fitness levels. They provide workouts that are designed and trained by certified personal trainers, whether that is through their outdoor fitness platform, live online workouts, or through their on-demand library. They also have certified nutrition coaches and registered dietitians who offer nutrition coaching.
I love working out with Camp Gladiator and have been for almost a year now. I think one of the things I love most is the positive environment and community that not only works out together, but also becomes a family outside of camp while supporting and giving back to the community. CG members can participate in an unlimited number of workouts each month, and the super fun outdoor workouts include dumbbells along with other fitness toys, which are my favorite, the balls, the bands, the ropes, the fire hoses, so much fun. And the virtual workouts use dumbbells and other things that can be easily found around your home.
Camp Gladiator members have a primary trainer that will keep you motivated, accountable, and will be there to do all they can to help you get the most out of your fitness journey.
CG is also great for moms. I can't remember how many camps I've been to where I've seen moms with their children in tow, whether in a carrier, a stroller. Plus, you'll see older children working out alongside their parent, which is always awesome to see. Sometimes they even use their children as an extra weight or just to bring them into the movements because they want to.
They have an amazing number of workouts that are offered all throughout the day. You can catch outdoor and live online workouts from 5 a.m. until 10 p.m. And the on-demand ones are available 24 hours a day. Anyone can join Camp Gladiator for a full week of free workouts. Get your free week using the link in the show notes. We've talked a lot about the effect of diet culture, essentially, is what it is. It's the society telling us that we need to change and shrink our bodies in order to be beautiful or be accepted.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of our 4 key initiatives is helping moms to recognize that it's important to have this healthy relationship with food, reject diet culture, etc. Her Health Collective actually took the myriad of topics that affect women's health and moms down into 4 specific key initiatives, one of which we just said is rejecting diet culture. The other is equity of maternal care. We have another one that's perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. And then we also like to draw attention and help moms through the different expectations of motherhood, feeling like you have to perform a certain way. We also call it the goddess myth. It's from an article that we had found from Time magazine. But what's lovely is that you share several of the same interests. You're working for equity of care in the marginalized populations. Some of your research is centered around eating disorders like binge and emotional eating and strategies for developing healthy relationships with food, which is similar to rejecting the diet culture and changing your appearance and body shape, that it's more important to feel good in your body and have a better sense of general well-being. It's further explained in diet culture as labeling the food good and bad, which I talked about in my experience, that I had labeled certain food groups as good, certain as bad. This will make me healthy. This will make me sick. This will make me more heavy. This will make me thin. And it's just not the case. That's not beauty. In your article featured in the Daily Tar Heel, which we will link in the show notes, you said, quote, "I know what it's like to have an eating disorder. I know what it's like to carry more weight than I would like and feel like I'm stuck. And I also know what it's like to live in a place of wholeness, health, and freedom in my relationship with food. Understanding those 3 states really compelled me to want to use what I've learned to create something that could make things better for others," end quote. Will you please talk to us about this quote and provide further information? Food freedom, we talked a little bit about the PCOS and what the changes that it brought into your body. What is your vision? Finding food freedom. How do we do that? It's a process for sure. Relinquishing control. There's the fear. I don't know. Let's just talk a little bit about that and give our moms some tactical things that they can do.
Oh, I love that. I'm a coach also. And so I just love being able to encourage other people on their journey. Cindy, as you were talking through your struggles, I think one thing that stood out to me is finding a way to make peace with food, right? With the whole landscape of it. I think it can be just as hard to learn how to eat a cookie than to eat vegetables. Like, right? In our landscape, it can be really hard to understand how to do those things. And so if people have not gone on that journey, that intuitive eating journey, I highly recommend that as a first step. It's hard, to kind of put some of your other desires, but to give yourself the space to heal your relationship with food and let that be kind of the only thing in the equation in a time just to do a healing work, because we all probably need it. And to be able to realign with, right, how do I approach the pop-up party, the celebration at work in a healthy way that doesn't make me feel like, oh, forget it, right? Because I think that's how it feels to so many people. How do I learn to enjoy things in moderation and make choices that honor my health on a daily basis? And not because I'm trying to be a certain size, but I'm just knowing that this makes me feel good. Like I can see a difference, right? I can tell when I've eaten crappy. Again, my body's like, that was not good to me, right? My body's like, no, Rachel, like I didn't like that. And I can hear and discern the difference now. And so I remember I would get so tired in the afternoons, like after I'd eat my lunch. And now I hate that feeling. Like I'm like, ugh. But paying attention, I'm like, what do I need to do so I don't get that sleepiness after I eat? Like, what does that mean? And so really, I think going on a journey to start to learn you, right? To learn outside of the desire to lose weight, outside of the desire, all that stuff, to give yourself a gift. You deserve it. And I think I'm so grateful for that time where I could learn and heal in my relationship with food. And then I think it's also making room for, if your desires change for whatever reason, right? After you've healed a relationship with food, people have health-related reasons why they really might need to engage in a weight loss process. And I have learned, again, social workers, we practice from this place of self-determination, meaning I'm going to let you decide, as long as you're not harming yourself. I'm going to let you decide what you feel like is best for you. And I want to support people in their self-determination, because again, in our culture, people have various things that motivate them, I think, to want to begin a weight journey. And it motivates me because right now, I can see how clinicians would feel like I don't have anything good to give them and I'm not going to support them in this journey, right? I don't want to do any harm. And so for me as a researcher, I want to be able to have a program where people can say, this is going to be helpful to you. This, if you really want to do this, I want to give you something that's going to help you on this journey and aid them, because we all have journeys to take. We all do. And
do you see that vision going into the medical system? Do you see your research actually not only helping people that are on the brink of an eating disorder and helping to teach them what health is like for them, but also teaching our providers to not give weight loss as the first
right.
solution?
How do we help people?
Right.
I would love to, like in my mind, I see an integrated care center, because that's really what we need. A place where we have people, all different helping professions working together. We have our physicians, we have our counselors, we have our dietitians, we have our, spiritual lay people. Like we're working together to help people at whatever they're at, whatever stage they're at. How do we think about moving people on a continuum of their eating issues, helping assess? I think assessment is huge, and we don't assess enough. And it's more than just looking at someone's weight outcomes, right? But taking the time to really look into their current eating behaviors. Is there an eating disorder here? And recognizing if there is, we need a different course of treatment, and to be able, again, to help people heal. And that may look like different things in different seasons, and making room for that in how we approach people.
What have you found to be medical professionals' biases of what an eating disorder looks like, and specifically how it is identified in members of marginalized communities?
Yeah, I think when I look at the research and what I hear, we just worked on a study where we interviewed some primary care physicians. My team and I, we were analyzing the data, and they had interviewed primary care physicians to hear what they were thinking of at eating disorders. And what they said was anorexia nervosa is the common, right? So if it's not anorexia nervosa, it's hard to know what it looks like. It's hard to know.
Mm.
And then when I see it, what do I do about it? Their visit is often so short. What do I do? How do I help people? I work with the National Center of Excellence for Eating Disorders, and they have developed a screening tool, which I'm so excited about. Christine Pete and her team, they have worked hard so that no one has that excuse anymore, and it's ready. They can use it. It's quick. You ask 4 questions, I think, and physicians can get the help they need to know, okay, this person needs a referral to a higher level of care. They really can quickly assess, even if they don't have any training on eating disorders. And so I would love to, again, see us work together more. Right now, the fields are pretty siloed. Like there's a big rift between the eating disorder and the weight community. Understandably, but our people, we need to work together more. They need us to be united, I think, more than we are, because I think it just harms the patients more than anything. And we have to find a way to recognize that eating is on a continuum, and it's not this or that. We're on just continuums. And how do we help people at different stages on their journey on the continuum?
How close is that survey to being rolled out to different medical facilities and doctors? Like, is it universally
people can
available
use
now?
it today. They can use it's
Okay.
ready. It's ready. It's been tested. I mean, it's ready. And so you can go on NCED US, I think is the website, National Center of Excellence for Eating Disorders, and it's called SBIRT, SBIRT. And it's a screening tool that primary care providers can use, today. And again, other helping professions probably can use it too, right? It's not probably just limited to primary care providers, but a lot of people want to be helpful, but they may not feel confident, but they just do a good assessment, ask a couple questions, and, put the information in, and you'll be able to, get some guidance on what might be needed next.
Yeah. You mentioned the eating disorder and health, nutrition, obesity, I guess, being siloed from each other. And that's a lot of what we talk about in Her Health Collective in the medical industry in general. When moms receive care, your pelvic floor and the nutritionist and the therapist, and that it's all still very separate. But so much of what you're talking about is this idea of this holistic element. We are an entire person. We are our emotions and the food that we eat every day and the physical things that we do with our body. We're all of that. And it all works in conjunction. And so much of what you say, I see that we need this element of our providers working together and sharing of information and working in harmony and acknowledging that each field and profession has something to give to the patient.
That's it. We need them. We need each other.
It's been just a joy to spend this time with you. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for coming on and sharing your stories and chatting with our moms.
Yes, I'm so grateful to be here with you all. Thank you so much.
It was such a wonderful talk with Dr. Rachel. Here are our 3 takeaways from today's episode. Number 1, Dr. Rachel and I shared our experiences with disordered eating. We discussed our emotions and pieces of what drove us to the place of disordered eating. Dr. Rachel pointed out that it's so important to share our stories, that we are not the only ones who have experienced eating struggles. Discussing with others and hearing various experiences validates how easy it is to slip into disordered eating. The goal is to be healthy and have a healthy relationship with food at any weight, recognizing that there is so much benefit from focusing on being healthy, whole, and free in our minds regarding food. While it's also important to recognize the pushback of the world around us, making this freedom harder to achieve. We need each other and our stories. Number 2, Dr. Rachel mentioned that one common similarity between individuals who struggle with disordered eating is the need to make peace with food. One of her many hats that she wears is a coach. She loves being able to encourage other people on their journey. Keeping this in mind, she offered some tangible steps to start creating a positive relationship with food. Dr. Rachel encourages the first step to be beginning an intuitive eating journey and giving yourself the space to heal your relationship with food, and let that be the only thing in the equation for a time, just doing the healing work. Due to the strong effect of diet culture, we all probably need this. Through books, therapists, and podcasts, the intuitive eating journey will help you learn to enjoy things in moderation and make choices that honor your health on a daily basis. And not because you're trying to be a certain size, but just knowing that it makes you feel good. We have provided some resources in the show notes. Number 3, self-determination is a term used in social work, meaning that the therapist will let an individual decide what is best for them, as long as they're not harming themselves. Dr. Rachel expressed her desire to support people in their self-determination because she recognizes that in our culture, people have various reasons to be on a health journey. She mentioned how, as a researcher, she feels motivated to develop a program where clinicians can provide something that will help individuals on their journey. She found in her research that if people are presenting differently than one of the most common eating disorders, anorexia nervosa, some clinicians don't know what to look for or the questions to ask. The National Center of Excellence for Eating Disorders has developed a screening tool that's quick. There are approximately 4 questions to answer. People and physicians can get the answers they need to know on whether an individual needs a referral to a higher level of care by using this tool. It provides a quick assessment, even if someone doesn't have any training on eating disorders. The assessment can be found at nceedus.org. The link is also in the show notes.
High five, friend. We've enjoyed hanging out with you. Follow us so you're the first to know when we drop a new episode.
If you've enjoyed your time with us, let us know by leaving a review. We always love hearing from you. Until next time, stay true to you.